Hi, I'm Gil Gockley. Welcome to my love-centered meeting house. This is video 4. It's still part of self-awareness. It's still part of step 4, but it's a little bit more of a continuation of step 4. Last week we talked about Jesus' messages and the 5 spiritual gifts. Today I want to talk about something that might be a little more controversial. It's called the 30 Theses. And I want to read a little bit about the 30 Theses. I felt spiritually called through internal energy and a spiritual epiphany to get out of bed at 2 in the morning and write 30 Theses. Now, I knew about Martin Luther, who wrote the 95 Theses, but I never read Martin Luther's 95 Theses, the beginning of the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. Thus, I had no guidelines. I mean, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had this inner call, or however you want to deal with it, to get up and write 30 Theses. A call for a second Reformation. Not a second Protestant Reformation, but I was sensing a second spiritual Reformation. So I wrote from my heart and life experiences. As I reflect today about the 30 Theses, I am aware that I am being open-minded and willing to look at change regarding my inner call for a second spiritual Reformation for all the people of the world. I remember as a young boy, I sang this song almost every Sunday morning. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Today, I have come to believe that Jesus also loves all the religious, spiritual, and non-religious adults in the world. The second spiritual Reformation is a call for all God-loving, kind-hearted individuals to put into daily practice the golden principle, treating others the way they want to be treated. Think on that. What our communities would be like if everyone treated others the way they want to be treated. Now, there are only 7 of the 30 Theses that are controversial, and my intent is not to cause anyone to become upset or angry. As you meet as a small group with your satellite meeting house, if you're sensing tension or there is tension, simply go around the room and ask each person, are you comfortable or uncomfortable with this thesis? It might be enough to have someone say, I feel comfortable with that thesis. Another person might say, I feel uncomfortable. The thing you don't want to get into is arguments or negative debates. Keep it positive, as always. Keep the process healthy and loving. This is a call for a second spiritual Reformation. It's to have you be challenged to think about it. It's to open the door for discussion. There are 30 Theses. 4 deal with the old way of doing church. A few of them are challenging. 2 Theses, the Human Potential Movement, 1953 to 1973. It's where I got my education. The 21st century dark religious political movement, again, it has some challenging thoughts for us to consider. See what you think, see what you feel, see if it makes sense to you. And then the left fork on the road of life, again, most are positive, 1 challenging. 4 Theses on the Human Potential Movement revised. That's where I'm taking what I learned 50 years ago and bringing it into the 21st century. And then a call for a second Reformation, 11 Theses. This is a positive positive approach to looking at the church of the future. It's to get a dialogue, to begin talking about what's happening, where are we, what can we do better. I just want to read 6, maybe even 4 or 5 theses, just parts of it so you can get an idea. I want to read Thesis 5, the Human Potential Movement. It was a spectacular era, an era of enlightenment, emerged during a momentous 20-year research period during the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s. It was called the Human Potential Movement. It offered hope for all humanity. It provided opportunities for emotional wellness, self-awareness, character development, value creation, physical wellness, and social wellness. It provided a path that leads to inner happiness, joy, and hope, inner peace, inner goodness, inner resiliency. Today, educational and religious leaders so many times are ignoring the celebration and value of the human spirit, a positive inner energy source that elevates the human condition, elevates humanity. So much of this book champions this exciting and promising 20-year period when research, human insight, and hope dominated the human landscape. The Human Potential Movement, dubbed Becoming More Fully Human, was an innovative, creative, and remarkable research period geared to bring love, hope, happiness, emotional wellness, value creation, dignity, integrity, and goodwill into our daily lives. I want you to go to date 72, page 173. And this is the Human Potential Revisited. You can see where I take what happened 50 years ago in that beautiful period of research and brought it into today's world. The human potential generates within the person a sense of love. It always comes back to love. The answer for finding a common denominator for unifying the people of the world is love-centered, educational, psychological, philosophical, and spiritual approach to humanity. The answer is to love, accept, and value one another, touching the highest standard of human potential. The 30 Theses combine human development and spiritual wholeness. The 30 Theses in this training manual provide an inner journey to the heart as it unites all the people of the world. The best part of this program, it does not challenge anyone's spiritual and religious beliefs. Jesus can be respected and honored as a teacher, sage, prophet of God, higher power, God, or even curiosity. The purpose of this book is to invite you to discover and articulate a spiritual pathway based on love. Go to thesis number 20. A call for a second Reformation. The second spiritual Reformation is happening. Most people are not noticing any changes in their religious lives. However, there are small, continuous, positive changes happening in many places of worship. There are a few churches led by knowledgeable, courageous leaders that are impacting members from their own churches and communities. Change is coming. The survival of members wanting to experience religious and spiritual inner glory depends on continuous, creative, inspirational, loving, and audacious community-wide change. The 30 Theses, presented in self-knowledge, spiritual knowledge, living knowledge, this training manual, can serve as a foundation for real, productive, life-enhancing change. The second spiritual Reformation can, as Rollo says in 1953, help lay the groundwork for the new constructive society which will eventually come out of this disturbed time as the Renaissance came out of the disintegration of the Middle Ages. The key ingredients for change include loving God, loving your inner self, and loving all your neighbors as you love yourself. Let's join together with a common goal of treating others the way we want to be treated. That's the key, isn't it? That's the difference between being in the light and being in the dark. Let's put love into action. The second spiritual reformation encourages individuals to think, feel, observe, share, question, discuss, meditate, contemplate, and celebrate the inner journey to the heart. The goal of this training manual is not to proselytize, lecture, intimidate, and manipulate. The goal is not to activate any conditioned fear that might have been taught to you during your previous religious experiences. The main goal of the second spiritual reformation is to invite you to consider walking on an inner path leading to love, combining human development and spiritual wholeness. This is an opportunity to become a contributing member of the second spiritual reformation. Be open and willing to explore life possibilities. Life is to be celebrated. Go to the next page on page 185. And I just want to read that this manual, the self-knowledge, spiritual knowledge, living knowledge, is the foundation for a second spiritual reformation. Far too many churches are not practicing and celebrating religious freedom. The idea of church is changing. If the church is going to survive, the church must change. The ideas of church is not meaningful and life-enhancing for too many individuals. Churches are failing. The first Christian church established during the 4th century AD continues to dominate with a fear-based judgmental theology. The call for the second spiritual reformation has its foundation based on a Jesus-centered, God-loving theology. It is love-centered. Freedom of religion accepts both fear-based and love-based theologies. The second spiritual reformation presents a clear and compelling alternative to dominate negative, dark, and overpowering fear-based theology. The focus of the second spiritual reformation is on the left fork on the road of life. It is a road filled with sunshine and love and happiness and acceptance and inner goodness. The second spiritual reformation presents a new era of enlightenment. The second spiritual reformation focuses on human potential and the emerging human spirit. The second spiritual reformation represents Jesus as a teacher for all ages and for all the people of the world. On page 196, I have a page called Dr. Gockley's Final Thoughts. I just want to read 2 paragraphs. You are touching the amazing wonder and promise of you. Just think about the beautiful and breathtaking goals you are setting for yourself, your inner self, your inner spirit. You are internalizing that this is the moment in your life when you will not let anyone take the love of God nor your marvelous inner journey to the heart away from you. Love triumphs over hate, prejudice, dishonesty, and love-based rhetoric. Love triumphs over the temptations and traps of the secular world and exposes those who serve as false prophets. I can only imagine the inner beauty you feel as you capture the awe and glory of God and the wonder of living a Jesus-centered, God-loving life. You might feel as if you want to shout from the mountaintop, "I am a miracle. I have the Spirit and love of God within me. I am a gift of life that is holy and undeserving of being lost. You will, of course, refrain from shouting from the mountaintop, because so many individuals you love and care for do not comprehend what it means to be filled with the love and Spirit of God. You will serve as a model of calm, emulating a loving, joyous, and sensitive presence. You will simply and graciously let your inner light shine. I want to end this video on a special note. I found a song. I listened to it for so many years. What I'm telling you is you will have extreme meaning toward this song as you go through this process. Maybe you're there now, but I'd like to read the lyrics to a song written by Johnny Nash called I Can See Clearly Now. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that held me blind. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around. There's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead. There's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Next week, video 5, I introduce you to steps 5 through 8. Incredible, life-changing activities that increase self-awareness and strengthen your inner self. It is going to be a wonderful, wonderful set of videos for us. Be in love, walk in the light.